Yes, the schedule will be more difficult in 2024, but Boston College football is in better shape for a better season. I'll explain why.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black. I'm the editor and publisher of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 network. I hope you're all doing well. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and I'm a big fan of Monopoly Go. The mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly, so join your friends and download Monopoly Go now free on the App Store or Google Play. So the talk has been going into this season that it's going to be a tougher year for BC. You look at the schedule, it's going to be tough. But today, I'm going to explain why I think BC is still in better shape for a better record than they were last year. I'll give you a couple of reasons why there. And then I want to talk again about basketball and this transfer portal exodus. And I want to get into whether this was preventable and how much of this could have been stopped. We'll get into all of that on today's show. So I was reading on Eagle Insider a article written by one of our national guys, and it was a article written about how Boston College was one of the teams that was listed for the ACC to have the biggest potential win decrease in the conference, and they had them winning only 4.5 games, which is a loss of 1.5. They don't count the bowls, which whatever. And then it says for BC, it says the reasons why. Boston College, meanwhile, must overcome a coaching change with Jeff Hafley, joining the lengthy list of college coaches to leave for the NFL. So, first of all, I'm not going to bash the guy who wrote this, but do we really think the reason why BC is going to lose more is because they lost Jeff Hafley? I'm going to actually I'm going to flip it and reverse it here. I think the reason why BC is going to be, as you know, either go 6-6 or better is because Jeff Hafley is gone. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. You now have a head coach in Bill O'Brien that knows what he is doing, that is a veteran, that has seen everything and anything that teams can throw at him. He's done it all. He's coached at the college level, he's coached at the NFL level, and he's got a team in front of him that he can work with. I ask you, do you honestly think Boston College is in worse shape because they have a new coach? If you say yes, I don't know what to tell you. I don't. Jeff Hafley was a nice guy. I argue he was, a nice guy, but we didn't get to see a whole lot of what he could do. He was learning on the job. He was trying to figure things out. Watching Bill O'Brien at practice is a very clear signal, getting to see what he can do, that he knows exactly what he's doing. He doesn't need a year to figure things out. He doesn't need a learner's curve or any, like we don't need to expect Bill O'Brien to have situational issues like Jeff Hafley did. None of that. Bill O'Brien knows exactly what he's doing. Watching him in practice, he sets things up like he is a drill sergeant. He knows, he worked with Bill Belichick and Nick Saban for years. He has pieces of that in him. When you watch him coach, he's he does a situational stuff. He like what you've heard Belichick say that kind of stuff, right? We are always prepared for anything. I'm not. I don't know if at the college level they're going to be able to be as prepared as like the Patriots might be, but believe me, they're going to be better prepared than Jeff Hafley had them. Okay, how many times did we watch a game and someone would throw something at BC and Hafley was struggled to adapt? We saw that quite a bit. I don't see that with Bill O'Brien. I think when you see a team like Louisville or a team like NC State or Wake Forest or some team that has something special about them, he's going to be able to go into the game knowing what that issue is, being able to figure out maybe a strategy to adapt to that issue and not let things happen like what we saw against Louisville, Virginia Tech, in Miami last year, where things just spiral out of control. Now, will there be a talent gap? Yes, there's going to be a talent gap when you play a blue blood team, when you play a Florida State. And to give credit, Halfley had BC ready for Florida State too, to an extent. I mean, they still were sloppy and they kind of his fault they lost. But anyways, this is going to be something that I think BC will be in better shape for. I don't think that losing Halfley is an issue at all. And to the fact that there's the way that they built their staff around Bill O'Brien, I think puts them in better shape to win. What was the big thing last year that helped BC win 7 games? It was their offense. What group is back almost in its entirety this year? It's the offense. You brought back your offensive line coach that helped rebuild your offensive line into a juggernaut. You brought back your wide receivers coach who continues to help build a wide receivers room that is something that BC has never done. With depth you have never seen. With talent you have never seen. You have him back. You have Savon Huggins, who's did a nice job with the running backs. So you have all of that. And then you add in Will Long, who is a well thought of offensive coordinator to work with guys like Rob Chudzinski, who was here last year. So I think that side. And then you add in a veteran, a very strong veteran group on the defensive side of the ball that will hopefully get you guys in the group going better than they have in years past. Because what we if the issues linger on the defensive side of the ball, which I don't see it happening to the level that it did last year. I mean, are they going to be great? I would argue probably not, but they're going to still be much better, and that's all you can ask for. And Tim Lewis may not be a name that everyone knows, but he's done this for years too. He knows what he's doing. That's the key here. You've got a coach there that knows what he's doing. Again, I look at the defense, and I'll say the same thing I said about Bill O'Brien. You have coaches that are coming back that are veterans. Tim Lewis, Jeff Commission, Dan O'Brien. All 3 of those guys have been around for a while. They are replacing, and I'm not knocking these guys, but Sean Duggan, who is learning on the job. Azar Abdul-Rahim, who's getting his first crack at being a defensive coordinator. See the difference there, folks? You're getting experience. You're getting guys in that know what they're doing. And that is going to be a huge difference maker for Boston College. But it's not just the coaching staff. In a moment, I want to talk about why I think the roster is set up to help BC win more games than folks may think that they're ready to do. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL, and baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. You can bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all in an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. You think the Celtics are going to continue to roll over the Heat, or do you expect Bam and his team to come back? Maybe Jimmy Butler's going to suddenly rise from the rafters and come back to help the Heat win. Maybe you can go in, you can make your bets. What are you waiting for? Visit fanduel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win with FanDuel, the America's #1 sportsbook. This is Locked On Boston College. I am your host, AJ Black. We're talking about why people are underestimating what this team can do. And I look at the team itself, not just the coaching staff, as a reason why I think this team could be in better shape. And I look specifically at that defense. A defense that finished dead last or second or third to dead last in sacks last year. When you take out what Donovan Ezeiruaku did to the Virginia Cavaliers, they had no pass rush last year, like none at all. It was one of the worst, probably in college. It was the worst in college football. He just had an incredible game against Virginia where they had like 6 sacks. They got to fix that. I believe that they have guys on that roster that can be good pass rushers. I think Ezeiruaku, we saw it in 2022 when he had 8.5 sacks and was second in the conference, is that guy. Now, I don't know if it's a weight thing. Halfley always loved to brag about, oh, he put on so much muscle last year, but maybe he slowed down because he had that much muscle. Maybe that was more of an issue. And maybe the staff will look at that and figure it out. I've heard from the players, and I've seen it with my own eyes, that this year they're allowed to do more in terms of cause chaos. That's the term I kept hearing during practice. They want to cause chaos. That is a good thing because you have guys that can do that. You have 3 guys up front right away that I think could help revitalize this defensive scheme because they just need the permission to pin back their ears and go after the quarterback. And I think they're going to get more of that with more blitzing and more options to do that kind of thing this year. And that's obviously Ezeiruaku. But one name that I feel has been, we're just waiting. We're waiting for him to do something, and that's Neto Ekpala. Neto Ekpala is a former track star. We saw him make a punt block his first game he played for BC. Fast as heck. They put a lot of weight on him. And he's constantly, if you watch games, the guy that's just an inch away from the quarterback when he gets the ball away. Like, you're just like, oh my God, can he just get a little bit more explosive so he can get to that quarterback? I feel like with a new scheme and a way to get him, like the ability to do that, and maybe put a little bit more focus on like having the offensive line looking at Ezeiruaku or whatever, I think Ekpala is going to be a more efficient pass rusher. I also look at Cam Horsley as a guy who's now in his final season. He is a big dude. He is 6'3", 290 or 300 pounds or whatever. He knows what he's doing. He's one of the better defensive tackles in the country, in the ACC, I think. You got that line going. If they can coach them up just a little, I feel like that defensive front line will be much improved over last year. And if you get your defensive line improved, that's going to improve everything behind them, which I also think will be better. You lost Elijah Jones, and I can't understate how much of a loss that is. This is a guy that's going to probably be a 3rd-round draft pick come on Friday. He's a good player. It's tough to underestimate what you have there. But you look at the linebackers, you look at what's behind them. And I think with some good coaching and talent evaluation, which I think Jeff Hafley struggled with, I think this team is going to be much better next year. I like what they've done with the safeties. You have Jalen Cheek, who needs to get on the field. They figured out, hey, let's throw him at safety. He played cornerback for the last couple of years. They're going to try him out at safety. I love that. Bug Jones looks like he should be out there as a safety. I don't know, because Hafley never told us anything because he's so media friendly that no one knew anything about his program. Bug Jones never played the last couple of years. Looking at him right now, I question if there wasn't an injury, why wasn't he on the field last year? You saw John Pupil out there, and I'm not going to bash the kid, but he struggled a lot. Bug Jones looks like an improvement. KP Price looks like an improvement. I know he's only a redshirt or sophomore at this point. You have good safeties. You have, and this is actually a tip of the cap to Hafley. You've brought in 3 secondary reinforcements with Brightquist Brown, Ryan Turner, and Cam Martinez, who are all coming to, 2 of them, the former 2 the latter 2 are already on campus, and the former is coming this summer. You have depth there. Then I look at the linebackers. I love Vinny DePalma. I'm never going to bash that guy. That guy was glue. But he was what he was, right? He wasn't the most explosive guy. He was a leader. He was a good communicator. He had all that good stuff going. I think Cam Arnold can do what he did. I also really, really like Davion Crouch. I think this is his year to explode. And if you bring him out there and you add in Bryce Steele, who's probably the fastest linebacker they have on that roster, he's been back at practice. I don't know when, I don't remember seeing him during the spring game, but, he's going to be ready, I think. It looks like he looks ready to play. He was practicing, he was doing things. I look at that back grouping, the linebackers and the defensive backs, and I say they're better. So this team, my point about all of this is, yes, BC's playing a tougher schedule. There's no way of getting around that. You have to play Missouri. You have to play Florida State. You have to play some tough teams this year. But I'm also telling you that this team is better prepared to challenge in those games, to prevent yourself from having the Louisville and Miami type games that you had last year, and to have more of what we saw against Florida State last year, to have this team battling, to have this team shocking teams. They're better prepared, they're better coached, and they have the talent ready and in a better position to win than they did in 2023. And I'm telling you, that's my thoughts on this. Now, in a moment, I want to look at the basketball team because the basketball team is not in a position to win next year. And I want to know, was this all preventable? We'll explain why my thoughts on that in just a moment. I've been told I'm a bit of a competitive person. I think you guys out there know that. Think that's true? Okay, well, I have a competitive side. We all do. And my competitive side is a big fan of Monopoly Go. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been downloaded 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. But the best part is messing with my friends. I love it. I love to drive them nuts. I can charge them rent on my iconic properties just like classic Monopoly, but now I can also heist their vaults of riches for myself. And the leaderboard shows me who has the biggest Monopoly tycoon. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and people all around the world in time tournaments to earn big rewards. So get in the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go now free on the App Store or on Google Play. Now, if you know me as well, I am a big fan of going to games, concerts, theater, you name it. I love going to it. And I love going to baseball games. And if you want to go to the Red Sox, you got to check out Game Time. Time is an authorized marketplace of Major League Baseball. So you can go to Red Sox, Yankees, you name it, they've got tickets for it, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seats, and their lowest price guarantees, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Best part about this, you know exactly what you're getting. They have last minute deals that like where you can see the prices drop. They have all in prices for many of their tickets where all the fees are included. There's no surprise. It takes all the guesswork out and all that feeling you get when you buy from other sites where you buy tickets and you see like this huge amount of fees afterwards. Game Time a lot of times will get rid of all of that for you. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE. That's Locked On College for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. This is Locked On Boston College. I'm your host, AJ Black. And we were just finishing up our discussion, and I was passionately discussing why I think football is still in a better shape than they were last year and should still battle in a tough schedule this year. Now, I'm looking at a team that's and not in good shape, and that's the basketball team. As we've seen, we've lost 6 players to the transfer portal. We lost Quentin Post to graduation, and only have brought in 2 players and 2 freshmen who I'm not sure if they're going to be ready to play or not. The feeling around the program is not good right now. You're still waiting on the Golden Goose, which is TJ Power, 5-star recruit from Duke, who I just saw in the last 24 hours talked about what teams have been contacting him. And in that list was Boston College. No surprise. I've said all along, I still think he's going to be a good chance he ends up here. Then there is Dion Brown from UMBC, who I have a crystal ball in to land at Boston College. Those are 2 names to watch for. But I understand the agita right now because neither of them have signed yet, or neither of them have announced, and you're still waiting. And right now you have Chad Venning and you have Josh Beadle. And I don't think either of those really push the needle to having a winning season next year. So the bigger question, though, is this team ready? Was this preventable? Was this exodus preventable? So let's look at the players that left. I will tell you that everything I've heard, the Jaden Zachary departure was in the works. That was something that was not a surprise. He was graduated. He got his degree from BC, and he either wanted, from what I had heard, wanted to either go closer to home or to a winning program. Well, Clemson is a Sweet 16 program. It stinks that you have to play him again this year because I loved watching Jay Z play too, and I know you guys all did. But he did what he wanted to do. There was no chance that they were going to keep him. He wanted something specific that right now Boston College couldn't give him. Right? If BC could have been, if you could have sold to him that BC was going to be a tournament team next year, then he probably would have stayed. But there's no person in the world that thinks after losing Quinton Post that this team was going to be anywhere near the tournament, which stinks because it's been 15 plus years and it's been going on forever. You look at a guy like Mason Madsen. Mason Madsen, again, another one that was in the works forever. This was, and again, he got his degree and he was done. He's getting a chance to play with his brother. These are two situations that even with money, some folks are like, just throw money at it, throw money at it. Let's just throw money at it, throw money at it. I don't care about money in this. I don't think either of these situations have anything to do with money. Like, you know, the Friends of the Heights are going to pay what they can pay, and some of maybe it's not as much, but even if they paid a little bit more, you got one guy that wants to play for a contender, and you have one that wants to play with his brother. He wants to go play with his brother. That's what he wanted, right? It's a family choice. It's not a money thing. Not preventable. You have two guys that I don't think. I honestly think if you're fretting about these, then you haven't been watching BC basketball enough, which is Armani Mighty and Prince Aligbe. They are completely replaceable. The fact that they left, and I don't know why they left. Yes, Prince Aligbe went to Seton Hall, which is great. Yay, you went to the NIT winner. He was not doing anything here. Like, he wasn't. Like, every time that Prince Aligbe touched the ball, it was to the detriment of this program. Like, he needed a fresh start. He just was not working here. Like, get a new scholarship, get a new face in here. And I don't know who the new face is going to be. That we have to wait for. So, again, is that preventable? I guess if you really wanted to keep him, is it a big deal? No. Same thing with Armani Mighty. Armani Mighty was not going to be your starting center this year. He had 2 years to try to figure things out, and Earl Grant played him, and he was a absolute offensive liability out there. Like, he just could not do anything. And maybe he found another program that would like to play him. I know he's down to like Townsend and Buffalo. But can you find Armani Mighty, even with NIL, with everything that BC has, all the things that make BC, this inferior program that everyone thinks about? Could you find Armani Mighty? You absolutely could. He is completely replaceable. So I don't lose any sleep over these two guys. Like, Prince Ligby, hope he can figure things out. Mighty, hope he can figure things out. But the fact that they lost them, whatever. Now, Claudell Harris. Claudell Harris, I don't know what got in his ear. Now he gets to go play to Vanderbilt. And I want to give credit to Chris Vogel out there who made the joke. Yeah, when you can't beat a team by 20, when you beat a team, what was it? When you beat a team by 20 points, you can't beat a team by 20 points, you got to join them. So he's going to Vanderbilt. Not Claudell Harris. Devin McLaughlin. He's going to Vanderbilt. I argue this is the only one that was preventable. I don't know what happened here. I don't. And no one's going to ever know. And it may be a money thing. And if it's a money thing, Vanderbilt has more money than BC. That's a bigger issue here, right? We need to get Friends of the Heights more financially stable so they can pay him. That's the big one. Claudell Harris, I don't care. Like, honestly, like, yes, you lost a shooter, but like, to me, the fact that every tweet that he had out had something to do with an agent for Young Money Enterprise, which is run by Lil Wayne, shows me everything I need to know about that. He went to Mississippi State, a team that stinks. So he got his bag. That's all he cares about. And if you bring in Deion Brown, that's a serviceable replacement to Claudell Harris. And I honestly don't care. I don't. If that's what he wanted was money, and he wants to go play for Mississippi State, and his agent from Young Money Enterprises got him that money, fine. The one that stinks and the one that I think could have been preventable is McLaughlin. That's the one that I think everyone is getting stung by, and then just kind of stretch that out to everybody else. Like, McLaughlin should have been the star of this team next year. He should have been like one of your aces, and you lost him. And to that point, I don't know what happened back behind the scenes. This stuff doesn't come up um, in the sources I know. But if it was a money thing, I'd hope in the future that these types of situations we're going to able to build a little bit more financial stability with Friends of the Heist and other things that can pay him more so that a guy like that can happen. So in the end, the McLaughlin one, that one stings. That one could, I think, might have been preventable. I also think once everyone left, that might have been the sum of the parts type of thing. Um, I do think all the other ones either were everyone saw on the wall and there was nothing you could really do about it. And no, throwing money at them was not going to change things. And two people that I don't think is a big deal. So it's a weird feeling. But I also caution everyone to see what happens next. If they grab Brown and TJ Power, they might be in better shape. What they're going to have a few other scholarship spots. Can they bring in guys that can help? I'm still worried that they can't. That's a bigger issue. Will they be able to do this? We'll wait and see. We'll talk more about that on tomorrow's show. Thank you all so much for listening. My name is AJ Black. You can follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. Check out my work at Eagle Insider. And thank you all who have made Locked On Boston College your first listen every day. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Like this video too and share us with your friends. It's the only way we're going to get Locked On Boston College to get even bigger. And I would love to do that. Thank you all so much for checking us out. And we'll see you again tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.